It's been 53 years since David Thompson played in this gym at Crest High School in Shelby, North Carolina. But even 5 decades removed, he's still here in photos and memories. It was always a packed house to watch this high-flying teenager begin his climb to stardom. The impact Thompson in basketball had wasn't confined to a gym. His arrival was in unison with desegregation at Crest High School.
And it's a widespread rural community. He brought people together, whether you're bringing people of all economic levels, races together, this was the place to do it.
Modest and humble. It's something Thompson learned growing up at the end of this dirt road in a small house filled with support from his parents and siblings.
He tell me, said he's gonna be a star someday. David have made many friends, and we have met many friends, and seem like everybody loves him, and they respect us.
Basketball was an avenue to opportunity.
Growing up the way I did with growing up in a poor family and trying to do the best that I possibly could be in the game of basketball, and to have North Carolina State honor me in the way they did is truly a blessing.
In 1971, Thompson found a new home at NC State. At the time, freshmen were not allowed to play with the varsity until their second season.
Bouncing it off to Stoddard. Stoddard looking, goes to Thompson.
But whether on the freshman team or the varsity, Thompson had an array of talent few had ever seen.
Far ahead of his time. 6'4", had a 44-inch vertical. He was quick as lightning and, could shoot the heck out of the ball. That was a point in time when you just had to marvel his leaping ability because he jumped over everyone.
He was a basketball player who happened to be blessed with a remarkable ability to float over the court. David just seemed to elevate and then levitate.
He would go up so high that guys that were defending him would try to block it and be on their way down while he was still trying to get up to his peak.
With NCAA rules disallowing the dunk, Thompson and company found another way to utilize his ability to float.
The alley-oop just kind of came out of nowhere, just a play that we, did over in Carmichael Gym, and then did it one day in practice for Coach Sloan. But I threw passes, Stoddard threw passes, Moeller threw passes, but the one common denominator was David Thompson. If he could have dunked it, it would have been even a more spectacular play. But sometimes the alley-oop where you couldn't dunk and just lay it in was actually a more beautiful play than a slam dunk.
But there was more to his game than playing above the rim.
He's such a great shooter. If you ever watch this technique, he's such a great shooter. He turns. If you don't play up on him, pow.
Now goes to David Thompson.
You come up on him. His leg strength is so great, he's going to go by it.
The one thing that really struck me was his vertical on his jump shot, which made it so tough for any player his size or smaller to deal with him. The problem was the bigger guys weren't quick enough to be able to deal with his first step.
It was impossible to defend David Thompson. What he did have was skill. And what he did have was graceful explosiveness. And then he had the mind and the heart, the soul and the spirit of a champion.
When he was a sophomore, NC State was undefeated in ACC champions. As a junior, they repeated as conference champions, beating Maryland 103-100 in an epic overtime thriller. That's when only the tournament champion advanced to the NCAA tournament.
As far as the success of NC State and their championship bid, he was everything.
2 weeks later, it took 2 overtimes for the Wolfpack to stun UCLA in the national semifinals. It ended a run of 7 national titles for the Bruins and 2 straight for Bill Walton.
Never measure yourself by what you have done, but rather by what you could have or should have been able to do. And I just could not beat David Thompson that day.
The mission to win NC State's first national title was complete with a win over Marquette. In the 1974 postseason, Thompson averaged 27 points and 7 rebounds. A generational player that led to team accomplishments.
You got to have David Thompson to win the national championship. David Thompson is on a platform of his own. David was the best player of our era.
In my opinion, the best player ever to play in the ACC, David Thompson.
In 1996, Thompson was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. 13 years later, he was on the stage again as a presenter for an unlikely admirer.
I was 11 years old, 1974, I think, when you guys won the championship. And I was an anti-Carolina guy. I hated UNC. And here I ended up at UNC. But I was in love with David Thompson. Not just for the game of basketball, but in terms of what he represented. You know, we all, as Vivian said, we go through our trials and tribulations. And he did. And I was inspired by him.
There have been many profound moments in the life of David Thompson, one coming in 2003 when he walked across the stage as a graduate of NC State with a degree in sociology. Add that to his list of athletic accomplishments: 3-time ACC Player of the Year and All-American, National Player of the Year twice, ACC champion, national champion, Naismith and NC State Hall of Famer, and the only Wolfpack basketball player to have his jersey retired. Now, one more way to honor an icon: with a permanent statue. It will sit on a base that is 44 inches high to match his number and vertical leap. The pose? At the peak of his jump.
My signature play at North Carolina State is the alley-oop. So I was hoping they would be able to get the statue and make it with me doing the alley-oop, preferably over Bill Walton, but.
I'm here to tell you, he was more than really special. He was unique, he was one of a kind, he was radiant, he was brilliant. He was a comet that came through our universe one time. There is only one David Thompson.
A statue, a permanent reminder, an honor bestowed upon only one athlete at NC State.
The 4 best years of my life was here at Reynolds, and that's why I made my name. David Thompson became my household name playing basketball here at Reynolds Coliseum. And to be honored by your school and to be out there for history is something I'd never forget. And it's the greatest award a player could ever have.